Howdy. How's it going? What's shaking? What's popping? How you guys doing? Happy web app day to you all. Today the web app was released. We had a little troll from EA about the EA Access coming out, and you guys know that we all weren't a little too happy. But anyway, this is going to be part 5 of the startup guide. This is the last kind of part. Next episode of this guide will be the next steps, what you're going to do next, what you're going to be looking at, things you want to be doing in the future once EA Access release, once full gamers release, what to do with those hours, things like that. We'll have all that planned out in the next episode of this. For this episode, what we're going to be looking at is, now that you've kind of made some coins, like I've spent, maybe 5 hours on the, not even 5 hours, probably like 4 hours. We had a 4.5, 5 hour live stream today on my live stream. Link to that will be in the description if you guys want to come hang out with me. I'll answer your questions in real time, no problem at all. We usually have Tygrr, TR pops in every now and again. They're both busy guys, but they do pop into the live stream, and we can answer your questions there, no problem at all. Their links to Twitter will be in the description. Make sure you go check them out. So yeah, we're going to be doing meta investing. Meta cards are things that you guys want to get your hands on. Meta cards always rise. Always, which is great because it's easy. It's idiot proof. It's good for guys like me, guys who don't like to think very hard, guys who are kind of stupid, things like, people like me. So in this part of the guide, we're going to be looking at web apps, or web apps. In this part of the web app guide, we're going to be looking at the meta cards you guys want to be investing in, players you want to throw your coins into, how to understand the rise potentials, potential sell times, potential buy times, things like that. We'll get you all situated in this guide. So yeah, let's jump into it. So you guys have made it this far into the guide. You guys are, you traded with your silver cards. You guys have made your profit. You made up to 5K. You're looking at SBCs. You're completing the Advanced League SBCs, the Nations, all those SBCs. I'm not good at SBCs. You guys, if you guys come hang out with me, you will understand that very quickly, that I am horrible at SBCs. I am very give back to the community. I am very, buy lazy, I'm bad at it. But anyway, so you guys have made it through all the way through this. You're at this part of the guide and you're thinking to yourself, meta investing, eh? What's meta? What is meta? What classifies a meta card? Meta is, it's a simple kind of purpose. It's it's players that have good stats, good leagues, good nations, all those kind of things equate and add up to something that you guys want to look at in game. They're going to be the meta cards. Like, let's take a look at a card like Mbappe. Mbappe meets a lot of those requirements. He's French from PSG. He's a high rated card. He has good stats, good pace, good shooting, good dribbling, good passing. He would fit a lot of people's squads. He could play cam. He could play a wing. He can play a striker. So Mbappe would be a meta card. Players like, Toni Kroos. Toni Kroos, he while he has, a good nation and a good league, his stats really aren't the greatest. His pace really lets him down. His shooting is okay. His passing is good. His dribbling is all right. But that pace and that physical stat, those are the things that really let him down as an overall card. They limit his rise potential in that sense, as a fact that not a lot of people would use it. The more meta the card, the more the card is going to get bought, the more the potential of rise. That's kind of the concept that we're playing off of here. So if you feel like the card is, you're playing EA Access, you're seeing a lot of the cards being bought. You're seeing a lot of the cards being bought. You guys are seeing a lot of the cards in the game players are coming up against, and that's kind of what would dictate a meta card. A meta card is going to look like you're going to see it a lot. Those cards that are, they offer good links, they play really well in game, they're a pain in the butt to get past in the defense, they're really hard to defend against in the offense. Keepers can sometimes play into this if there's a lot of hype around the card as far as, Allisons, the Edersons, players like that. So that's kind of what you guys want to look at as far as players to invest in, those players that are going to have a better rise potential. That's what we're looking at here, is you want to invest your coins in those meta players to maximize your return. I feel like majority of players will rise, with exceptions, of course. Majority of players will rise. They will, start to peak once, leading up to the game release, and the players that will, the players that will have that benefit. You know what I'm saying? All right, perfect. So now that you guys have your player selected, what we're kind of going to want to look at next is buy and sell times. That's really what we're going to want to, kind of ingrain in your guys' heads as far as a calendar a calendar perspective, you've selected the cards that you want to buy. You know, your Mbappe's, your Ndombele's, your meta cards that are looking like they're going to be in a lot of people's teams. Check starter squads. People post their starter squads on Twitter. You can go on Twitter, find starter squads, look at those players, and you can kind of manipulate the market in that way. That's a good way to use Twitter to your advantage and kind of figure out ways that you can pick those cards. So what days are you looking at here? The days that you're looking at are, you have release day, which of the web app, which was today, the 18th. You're going to have early access, which is tomorrow on the 18th. And you have early access. So EA access is different than early access. So EA access is supposed to be tomorrow, according to EA, around noon, which, you know. So then you have early access, which is the 24th. And then you have the full game release on the 27th. So what's essential about these dates? So today, the web app was released. You can start flipping, you know, you got your silvers, you're doing your SBCs, flipping cards, you know, things like that. Tomorrow is EA access. That will be a big influx of cards on the market. People will be able to finally access their FIFA points. They'll be able to open a lot of packs. The market will kind of figure out which way it's going, whether it's trending upwards, peaking downwards, things like that. You guys will finally have, you know, your set amount of coins. Once you get to that point when you have your coin balance, you are looking at these dates. So the dates that you're going to buy the meta cards any day before the 20th, 21st at the very, very, very latest. That's kind of what you want to be looking at. After that, you want to sell those cards. So sell those cards on the evening of the 23rd or before that. That's kind of where you want to, you know, that's the sweet spot that keeps you in a good place that you're going to, you know, you're going to maximize the profit, because come the 24th is the first dip. That was what we're going to refer to it as. So it's the first dip of the market. So if you're looking at FUTBIN, you look at the trends of some of the players on Xbox last year, they will follow that trend. And the way that it works is that there's going to be a dip on the 23rd. That's a good time to reinvest. So you can reinvest those coins on the 24th after that dip. So that dip is where, you know, on the 24th, a lot of people have, you know, they've pre-ordered the Champions Edition or the Ultimate Edition, and they didn't get EA access, which is fine. $5 is $5. So what that means is that there's going to be those people that have pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition or the Champions Edition. They're going to be coming onto the market, which is going to then have another influx of coins and players, because people are accessing their FIFA points that they have preloaded on their FIFA 19 game. So that will in turn have a dip in the market. So the market is going to exhibit a low point on the 24th. Midday around the 24th, in my experience, is what will happen at that point. You know, 6 p.m. UK, around that time when people get off work, they have access to console. The game has been released. They're going to be able to go on. They're going to be opening packs. They're going to be rifling through cards. The cards are going to come onto the market. People are going to try to undercut because they want to get their coins. They want to build their starter teams, so that way they can take it into, you know, division rivals, squad battles, get their rewards, things like that. Get prepared for weekend league. Understand the game. Do their drafts. All of that has an effect on the market. Every little bit of that has an effect. It's going to bring the market in a downward swing. But adversely, for us, in this atmosphere, this trading atmosphere, it gives us a chance to reinvest our coins. We're going to take those meta players that we bought on the 20th, the 21st at the latest. We're going to sell them on the 23rd. We're going to get a peak in our coins. Once we have a peak in our coins, the market's going to dip again. That market's going to dip to a point where you say, perfect, now I can reinvest. You even can go and buy the exact same players, Mbappe, you know, meta Premier League players, meta League One players, starter team players, things like that. You can grab all those players, put them back on your transfer list, sell them, or not sell them at the next time that we're going to happen. So you have those investments from the 24th. You're looking at, okay, when am I going to sell these players now? So think about the game cycle, right? You have, like we talked about, you have EA access, you have early access, and you have full game release. So right now we're at the point where you're made it through EA access, you're on early access, and you've bought back these players. This is on the 24th. You bought back these players. When am I going to sell them? You're looking to sell these players on the 26th in the evening or the afternoon, something like before 12 p.m. Let's say you want to sell them at that time. You want to get rid of them. You want to get them out of your club, because those players will be on a peak because a lot of people are buying. And then what's going to happen then is the same thing that happened on the 24th. Come the 27th, the full game is released to everyone in the public. Everyone has now access to FIFA 20. FIFA points are accessible to everyone that now has access. What that means is that people are going to be the same thing, buying the cards, putting them on the market, doing their drafts, buying their starter teams, et cetera, et cetera. So that's going to drop it down. And again, You can take those coins that you sold on the 26th and reinvest in players. You can buy players. You can have an influx of coins, bring them all in, have players on your transfer list, start flipping, start trading, things like that. It's all applicable at that point. So then you're going to be investing in those meta cards. And what do you do with those meta cards then? You're going to hold those meta cards. You're going to hold those meta cards. You can build a team. You can play with that team, hold those meta cards. But when are you going to sell them to maximize your profit? When you're going to sell them is you're going to sell them on the Friday before the first weekend league, which I believe is the 3rd of October, which is the rumor. Nothing is confirmed from EA when to the first weekend league is, but if we follow trends from previous years, that is when we're looking to have the first weekend league. So you're going to sell your players before that first weekend league because those players are going to be at an all-time high. That all-time high is what you're going to be looking at because there is a chance that you run the course of having a risky investment. We're going to get into that in a little bit later in this video, is the risk of your investment. So you want to try and sell those players on the 3rd or the Friday before the first weekend league. That's what you want to do. That way you're not stuck in any cards. You're maximizing your coin potential. You're influxing that coin potential into your club, which is allowing you to then flip higher rated cards, flip informs, flip, higher meta tier golds, things along those lines. So now let's get into the risk of holding and things like that. Let's pop into that. So what I was talking about with the risk that we're going to talk about here is we're going to use a player example. So in this example, we're going to talk about Fred. Fred was a very hyped up player. He seemed to be a very meta player. He looked like he was going to fit into a lot of people's squads. He played for Man United. He had a lot of hype around him. Brazilian, for a young kid from Brazil going to Manchester United. A lot of hype around him. Looked very good. Very meta card, right? So what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at Mr. Fred. We're going to look at his graph. So this is a graph of Fred, and as you can see, it exhibits all the things that we've talked about. You have the initial release, the slow rise. The only thing he doesn't exhibit here is the drop between the first date. You can kind of see a little bit of a lull here where he doesn't have a hard drop. So that's when the early access is released, and then here you can see the dip on the full game release. So then he rises and rises and rises until around the first weekend league, and then he drops a little bit because there's a sell-off, which is fine. That's what we're talking about. But this trend that you see, this slope here, exhibits exactly what I'm talking about, which you risk yourself in holding these meta cards, because if they turn out to be not meta, you're risking the chance of losing your coins. So you want to get out of these cards so that way you're not risking your chance of a coin loss based on people discovering that Fred is no longer meta in this case. That's kind of what that's what we're looking at here. You want to sell at these times, list at these times, buy at these times, and that's kind of what you want to do. If you guys have any questions, jump into my live stream. I stream Tuesday to Sunday, or just Tuesday to Saturday, 9:30 p.m. UK time. You guys can jump in there at any time. Ask me any questions you have. Also, if you want to grab me on Twitter, my links will be in the description. Also, please jump on Twitter and follow Mr. Tygrr and Mr. TR. They put a lot of hard work and dedication into this guide. Make sure you guys check out the other parts. If you guys have any questions, feel free to contact us. And as always, have a good one. Peace.